Welcome, everyone, and we are now joined by U.S. Senator Cortez Masto here to discuss the reconciliation bill, or the big, beautiful bill, depending on how you want to call it. Senator, thank you for taking the time to join our channel today.
Oh, I'm glad. Listen, thank you for all the good work you're doing. I'm happy to join you.
I appreciate that. So we can go ahead and just jump right into this. I think that this bill, or this provision of the bill, caught a lot of us off guard. Obviously, the bill that passed had, many, many sections in many, many different areas, all kinds of stuff that you could theoretically get into. I kind of want to hone in on just specifically as it pertains to like the gambling world here. So what exactly happened? Like, how did we end up with this provision in this bill?
Yeah. So, and you talked about it. This I call it the betrayal of a bill. Quite honestly, it was a Republican tax bill that was shifting. It really shifts a lot of wealth from the hard-working individuals to billionaires, and its impact is about $4 trillion to our deficit, and our debt is, as you well know, it's just ridiculous right now. But the Republicans didn't want to show that they were adding to that deficit, so they had to hide it somehow. So they had to do some budget gimmickry. And part of that budget gimmickry was try to raise revenue somewhere, and this got caught up in the middle of it. Now, I will tell you, after I've talked with not only my colleagues, the Democrat, but the Republican colleagues, this was done behind closed doors like the rest of the bill. But even this provision, I think it caught the Republicans off guard. They had no idea that some of the leadership in the Republican Party was doing this so they could hide the cost of this bill from the American public. And this was a provision of it, unfortunately. And that... Let me just say that this is the reason why, one, I support transparency. Everybody should know what's going on. We should all be working on it together. Had we known this was happening, I think we could have stopped it ahead of time, just for the very reasons that you've talked about. Once everybody found out about it, there was an uproar, rightfully so, across the country. This is outrageous. This is just going to impact so many people across the country, not just in Las Vegas, where I think there's world-class gaming going on, but across the country, as you well know, and the folks that are listening to you know, it's a devastating impact. So my goal right now, and I think so many of us, is to change it back, get it back to the status quo where it was before.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So, but like, how did this happen? Was it just like one senator? I believe there's a senator from Idaho that was involved here. Like, how did this get thrown in? Like, it's so confusing to me. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just tack this one on. Like, I don't understand, because it's not a Republican talking point to do this. Like, there are Republican senators, I believe, like Ted Cruz, that are against this provision. So this isn't like it's like Republicans versus Democrats. In fact, one of the beautiful things about poker is that it's loved by both sides of the aisle. I mean, here in Texas, I do more stuff at the state level, and I have good friends that are Republicans and Democrats that love poker, that enjoy the game of poker. So this isn't like a Republican versus Democrat thing, right? Like, how did this get thrown in here? It just seems so random to me.
Well, let me just say, so everybody knows, when I worked on this to introduce this legislation, Senator Rosen and I, both from Nevada, said we're going to introduce this, and Ted Cruz was right there with us. I'm with you, and you jumped right on, and a couple of my other Republican colleagues. So you're right, it's bipartisan. We've got to fix this. I suspect here's what happened, and don't hold it. I'm giving you my best guess here because I wasn't in the room. A lot of this provisions on the tax code was led by the chair of the finance committee, who is Mike Crapo from Idaho. You got to remember, Idaho has no gaming and no gambling. And I don't know if in the last minute they were trying to figure out how to hide these costs, and this was one way to do it. And they thought, oh, let's just take this 10%, let's take this deduction down and take away that 10%. That will help us give some funding here for what we need, and not realizing the impact because they don't have gaming in their state. But right. You said it, it's across the country. I mean, Oklahoma, Texas, everywhere. There's Indian gaming, there's national gaming. And it's not just for the casinos, right? I mean, my gosh, there's sports gambling, there's online poker, as you well know, there's fantasy football. I mean, I could go on and on and on, where people enjoy an opportunity to go out. And this is one of their entertainments. I mean, I know it. I grew up in the industry. My grandfather was a pit boss. I mean, I know people that go on the weekends and they just want to get away and spend some time and go to one of the casinos and enjoy the day. And part of that is they, partake in the gaming industry, whether it's in Las Vegas or an Indian gaming casino or somewhere across the country.
Right. So that's like from the recreational gambler, right? How it pertains to a lot of my audience, particularly there's a lot of professional gamblers that are, able to earn a living playing poker. Like, one of the beautiful things about the game of poker is that if you're a talented player, you can make a living playing the game. And one of the worst parts about this is you're taxing people on income, on money they don't have, they never got, that isn't made money. And if you think about how this could impact someone, like let's just say you're a tournament player for poker and you travel around the country or the world playing tournaments, maybe you have $1 million in buy-ins that you had to pay to play those tournaments. Now, if you cash out for $1 million, you have $100,000 of income that you did not make. And for most people that are playing, that are gambling for a living, they're not living extravagant lives with a lot of money. They're working what is a job to them, like a middle-class job. And all of a sudden their tax brackets are going up. They're paying more in taxes. So for me, from the professional side, it really impacts a lot of the people that are playing for a living. In what other ways do you view that this could impact the gaming industry?
Well, let me say a couple of things. You're absolutely right. To me, and we recognize that it impacts professional gamblers. Listen, I grew up with them. I know them. And it's for the very reasons that you just said. But for some of my colleagues to understand why this is important, we fix it, we've got to both approach it from the professional gamblers as well as recreational across the country. Because I want everybody to understand it impacts all of us. But because of what you just said, a lot of our professional gamblers, this is really a part of their income, their ability to live. And most importantly, if we do not address this, the concern is a lot of these great events, the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas, they could take it offshore somewhere else, right? Illegal gaming, illegal wagering could be taken offshore somewhere else. So the goal is we don't want to push all of that offshore. We don't want to push it in the shadows. We want to make sure it's here in the United States. Everybody gets to freely do it and continue to deduct 100% of their losses. And really, again, it is just common sense. And you said this, there's bipartisan support to fix it. And so I'm not done. I am not done working on this. Jackie and I and Ted Cruz, I just yesterday was talking on the floor with Ted Cruz about how we move this forward and still try to pass this and bring back the status quo.
Yeah, so kind of moving forward then, as we look at like what can be done at this bill, I've seen some of the Ted Cruz stuff. He's actually played on some of the big shows in Las Vegas. I don't know if
you talked about that actually.
Yeah.
He tells me, I've just been in your state. I said, yeah, I heard you're a Poker After Dark.
He is, yeah, Poker After Dark. Yeah, he's played on the big show there. So, I'm very glad to hear that not only do we have people championing, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Champion?
It's a weird word. Anyway, on the left, champions of our cause on the left and on the right. So what are kind of like the next steps here? I saw that you had like a piece of legislation or an act, or I don't know exactly what the technical term would be, put forward last week that had some pushback because a different senator didn't like a different issue that was going on kind of simultaneously. So can you maybe talk about like what you're trying to do and like what we can do moving forward to fix this issue?
Absolutely. So I was just on the floor of the Senate, and what I tried to do is what we call a live UC. Go to the floor of the Senate, ask for unanimous consent to pass this legislation. It's called the Fair Play Act. And really what it does is just puts back status quo. There's 100% deduction. There's bipartisan support for that legislation. It's me and Jackie Rosen, Ted Cruz, as you know, is on it, and other Republicans. And my goal was to go to the floor, ask for a live UC, unanimous consent, and see if anybody objected to it. If nobody objected to it, then we would have passed it out of the Senate, then it would have gone to the House, they passed it there, and then we could have sent it to the president for signature. Unfortunately, when I went to the House, Todd Young from Indiana, senator, objected to it. And he didn't object to the underlying bill. He supports the Fair Play Act. What he was trying to do is to attach another piece of legislation that he wanted done along with it. And that was another piece, which is a tax code fix for educational institutions, for colleges and their foundations. And he was trying to fix that, even though he voted to take it away. He's now trying to fix it. It's a whole other issue. So he was trying to attach it here. And he said he would only allow this to move forward if we supported that. And I said, I was prepared to let it go, but some of my colleagues were not. So then there was an opposition to his piece of legislation. So it was crazy. And so I'll be honest with you, what Ted Cruz and I have talked about is we can't get into a point where now everybody's trying to attach something to it to get their pet projects fixed or changed. We need a clean version of this. And so my next step is to procedurally here, we can hotline things. So in other words, we can put it on the internet and between all of the Senate offices and say, does anybody object to this? And see who's out there still objecting to it. I've also talked to Todd and I said, come on, there's no way we're going to be able to get what you want done. Would you be willing to work with me and figure out how we can still get the Fair Play Act passed? And he said, yes, I will say that. So we're in conversations right now to try to still get it done.
So it seems like, just to kind of wrap this up, generally speaking, gambling at the federal level, it's very difficult to pass anything. And we saw like a really impactful moment in 2011 with Black Friday, where the Wire Act was enforced. And since then, we've really not seen much gambling reform at all, because it is such a contentious issue to pass anything related to gaming at any level. So when I hear like we need to pass something to fix this about gaming, I get worried, because it's so hard to pass anything through government. Do you feel like we have a good shot at this?
I do. Here's why. Because this is a simple fix, right? That to back to something that we've already allowed in this country that everybody seems to support. And so the goal will be to try to get it done, just a clean version of this bill. Either get it voted on by itself or attach it as a vehicle to something else, put it in something else like they did with this tax bill, and get it done. And that's the goal here. So I have not heard from any of my colleagues, both on the Democratic or Republican side, come to me and say, well, we just don't like your bill. We're never going to support it. That's not the case here. So the goal will be, let's find a vehicle. Let's figure out how we get this done and before the end of the year. And that's our goal. And I'm not giving up on that. And I know in the House, they're doing the same thing. So we're trying to work in both houses to figure out how we get something passed, either one side or the other, and then switch and then send it to the president for signature.
Well, I really appreciate your efforts here. I am very thankful I voted for you in 2016. I'm happy with that one. Keep up the great work. And I know a lot of people here on the channel, a lot of my audience, they also appreciate the effort that you're going through to help out our industry.
Well, Doug, first of all, let me say thank you for your voices. Everybody out there, keep talking about this. Make sure you're talking to your senators and congressional members. Make sure they know we have to fix this. And I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, Senator. I'll let you go. Thank you for your time.